Unit 6.A Ecotourism. Unit Structure 6.1 Introduction. 6.2 Ecotourism Origin and History. 6.3 Principles of Ecotourism. Principle 6.5 Features of 6.4 Potential of Ecotourism. 6.5 Future of Ecotourism. 6.6 Conclusion. 6.7 Summary. 6.6 Question. 6.9 Reference. 6.1 Introduction. Ecotourism necessarily means social and environmentally responsible level. This implies visiting natural areas and benefiting local communities. Planning for tourism is usually considered a mechanical activity. There is hardly any consideration for the natural resources as well as the community. Part of this problem can be solved if elements of sustainability are incorporated into the tourism project. Since the introduction of the concept of sustainable development, attempts have been made to link to virtually all aspects of development. Tourism is no exception, hence the term sustainable tourism. Ecotourism came into the prominence in the late 1980s. It was used as a strategy for putting together two purposes: conservation along with development in areas that were ecologically. Governments felt that ecotourism could generate economic benefits at local and national levels. It could lead to more awareness about the natural resources on which tourism heavily depends. It was one way to build public support for conservation and to encourage private sector conservation efforts. In this way, it would offer considerable potential for integrating conservation with development to ecotourism. Origin and history. The term sustainable development has been prominent in all discussions relating to policy making since the mid 1980s. The notion of sustainability has been extended to all industries, including tourism. The 1992 United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, UNCED, or so-called Earth Summit, was held in Rio de Janeiro. This provided a push for a variety of efforts to green industries. This could be achieved through a voluntary compliance, governmental regulations, and international treaty. The Earth Summit's Agenda 21, which was approved by 182 countries, laid out a broad path and challenge for business to adopt principles and practices of sustainable development. To celebrate 10th anniversary of the Earth Summit, the United Nations declared 2002 as the International Year of Ecotourism. Before 1970s, little attention was given by companies, governments, or NGOs to environmental and social impacts of travel and tourism industry. Between the late 1970s and the mid 1980s, a new field known as ecotourism gradually began taking shape. Its definition, however, has been vague. Ecotourism is frequently referred to as responsible, sustainable, low impact, or green tourism, and the industry lumps it together with nature, adventure, and wildlife tourism. Ecotourism is an offshoot of the wave of environmental awareness. The main idea behind this concept is to make use of tourism as a tool for the protection of natural wisdom by giving them a socio-economic value in their original state. The traditionally environment and development have always worked on opposite sides. Ecotourism is a promising tool because it has a potential to promote linkage between the environment and conservation and development interests. Ecotourism means making as little environmental impact as possible and helping us to sustain the indigenous population, encouraging the conservation of wildlife and habitats when visiting a place. It is a key to sustainable ecological development. It is a purposeful travel to natural areas to understand the cultural and natural history of environment, taking care not to alter the integrity and originality of the ecosystem. Ecotourism also means producing economic opportunities that make conservation of natural resources beneficial to local people. In short, ecotourism can become conceptualized as many tourism program that is nature-based, ecologically sustainable, where education and interpretation is a major component and where local people are benefited. Until recently, there has been some confusion surrounding by the etymology or origin of the term ecotourism. Ceballos Velasquez of Mexico was the first to coin the term ecotourism in the early 1980s. Velasquez defines it as traveling to relatively undistributed, disturbed, and uncontaminated natural areas with a specific objective of studying, admiring, and enjoying the scenery and its wild plants and animals, as well as any existing cultural manifestation, both past and present, found in these areas. Ceballos Lascurain illustrates that its initial reference to the phrase occurred in 1983 while he was in the process of developing Pronatura, an NGO in Mexico. It's 1965 has used ecotourism to explain the relationship between tourists and the environments and cultures in which they interact. It's identified four fundamental pillars that need to be followed for more responsible form of tourism. This included a minimum environmental impact, B minimum impact on the maximum on and maximum respect for host cultures, C maximum benefits to the host country's grassroots, and D maximum recreational satisfaction to participating tourists. On nature-based ecotourism is based on natural resources, the flora and fauna of a given area as well as its cultural features. The raw material for ecotourism project is its natural setting like a wildlife sanctuary. The conservation of natural resources is essential to the planning, development and management of ecotourism. To ecologically sustainable, the principle of sustainability operates at three levels: ecological, economic, and social sustainability. Because ecotourism is a subset of sustainable development, the same principles also extend to ecotourism. In practice, it means that tourism needs to be developed keeping in mind the carrying capacity of the place without harming the natural areas. 3. Environmentally educative. One of the key features that distinguishes ecotourism from other forms of tourism in the states emphasizes on education. Environmental education and interpretation are essential in creating a meaningful ecotourism experience. This helps in spreading knowledge, creating awareness, and appreciation for the environment. Ecotourism education is paramount because it will influence tourist behavior, impact community, and have long-term consequences for the natural areas. Your education can be used as a management tool for natural areas. On the other hand, interpretation centers help tourists understand the biological, social, and cultural importance of tourism site for logically beneficial. Usually, in tourism activities, local communities are treated either as being indispensable or, or treated as a resource that can be exploited. The local community is always lost when it comes to receiving benefits from tourism. Local people can become involved in tourism operations and also provide knowledge, service, facilities, and products to the tourists. In this way, ecotourism can generate income for the locals and also help in resource conservation. For tourist satisfaction, if the ecotourism industry is to be viable, it will depend on the satisfaction of tourists in the long run. The ecotourism experience should be as much as great or greater than promised client services, and satisfaction should be second second only to the conservation and the protection of the ecotourism site that is visited. Authentic ecotourism combines a number of the above-mentioned components that are interrelated. However, the first three characteristics are considered to be absolutely essential for tourism site or product to be considered ecotourism. The last two principles are viewed as being desirable not only for ecotourism but for all forms of tourism. Here, progress 1. What is the main idea behind ecotourism? 2. Can you explain any two principles of ecotourism? 6.4 Potential for ecotourism. As compared to the North development countries, many biodiversity-rich countries of South developed countries receive large number of tourists. 13 of them Argentina, Brazil, Cyprus, the Dominican Republic, India, Indonesia, Macau, Malaysia, Mexico, Morocco, South Africa, Thailand, and Vietnam receive over 2 million foreign visitors per year. More than one of receive over 2 million more one of the poorest 15 countries fall within the biodiversity hotspots, and in all of this, tourism is already significant or is forecast to increase. Forecasts suggest that tourism will become increasingly important in biodiversity hotspot countries, particularly in Southeast Asia and South America. This will require careful planning to avoid negative impacts. India is one of the major biodiversity hotspots, and this indicates potential tourist traffic in the country. All tourism activities can be positioned on a continuum that ranges from the more hot pursuits on one extreme up to those of a soft variety on the other extreme. Third, ecotourism ideal type involves specialized trips undertaken over a relatively long period of time by small groups of dedicated environmentalists who like to stay in the wilderness or other relatively undistributed disturbed environment. At the other end of the spectrum, soft ecotourism involves larger groups of less committed tourists whose encounter with the nature is temporary. Usually, it is one as an incidental component of a multi-purpose trip. These tourists tend to look for comfort in travel. They tend to concentrate in more modified areas, often on the edge of a protected area or within its interpretive center where a high level of services is available. In reality, most trips fall somewhere in between these two extremes of the continuum. 6.5 The future of ecotourism. Ecotourism is as an industry as its advantages and concerns. It is a double-edged sword which would benefit the host community and also create irreparable damage to the tourist site. Ecotourism provides an opportunity to develop tourism in ways that minimize its negative impact. If ethically implemented, it can be used as means of preventing environmental degradation while sharing economic benefits with local communities. In the coming future, tourism will be shaped by tourist preference for alternative forms of tourism, especially nature-based tourism and ecotourism. While there are instances of successful ecotourism ventures all over the world, there are a fair number of failures too. The format of ecotourism in Belize defies any of the stated principles of ecotourism to such an extent that it is considered as ecoterrorism. The World Tourism Organization (WTO) has stated that ecotourism is the fastest growing sector of the tourism industry. Some believe this is good news, and others are horrified that the potential environmental damage that ecotourists and operators may cause to already fragile environments. 6.6 Conclusion. In the coming decades, future of tourism generally will be shaped by alternative forms of tourism, especially nature-based tourism and ecotourism. Ecotourism provides the opportunity for many countries and regions within them to promote and identify that is unique to that place. It can create new and existing tourism experiences, promote excellence in tourism, present and protected natural areas, bring benefit to local communities, and encourage commercially successful and environmentally sound tourism operations. In India, the prospects look bright for the development of sustainable tourism, which a high-held India can offer national and international tourist staff, reaching market focused on the country's unique natural, cultural, and historic features. Summary 6 points on summary. Ecotourism necessarily means social and environmental responsible travel. There are five key elements of ecotourism, which are as follows. So, it is nature-based, ecologically sustainable, environmentally educative, locally benefits and provide tourist satisfaction. Ecotourism as an industry has its advantages and concerns. It is a double-edged sword which would benefit the host community and also create irreparable damage to the tourist site. In India, the prospects look bright for the development of sustainable tourism. With high yield, India can offer the national and international tourist job a key market focused on country's unique natural, cultural, and historic features. 6.8 questions. 1. Examine the origin and development of the concept of ecotourism. 2. Discuss the salient features of ecotourism. 3. State principles of ecotourism. 4. Discuss the future of ecotourism for a country like India. 6.9 References. Finally, ecotourism and introduction. Second, Routledge, London. Previous tourismnotes.com or adventure tourism. TBS/screenglobaltravel.com/what is ecotourism 10 simple steps to more sustainable travel.